Welcome to the Destinations with Doni podcast, where we explore your cultural passions. Destination home, cuisine, community, relationships, and passion. Embrace your cultural identity as we bring you the tools to live in full color. Hello. Okay, Peter, I did not ask you before. I'm going to ask you to say your name because I do not want to butcher it. How do you say your last name?
Okay, it's my full name's Peter Ukhurebor. That's my full name.
Oh,
The last
wow.
it has three syllables in it.
I love it. That is a beautiful name. Tell us the origins of your name, if you so please.
Okay, I'm Nigerian. I'm Nigerian-American. My name comes from the southern part of Nigeria, basically the Benin Kingdom, which has a rich cultural heritage in West Africa. That's where mine come from, the Asan people of Benin.
Fantastic. I actually just recently was speaking to a university professor about Benin and the culture there and just how rich it is. We're looking at art and different things like that. So that is exciting for me. And what's even more exciting, you and I met at the Con Lions in 2022, right? And so for the audience who may not know, tell us about the Lions.
Okay. Can Lions Advertising Festival is the oldest advertising award event in the globe and happens to be the biggest that cuts across different genres of the or different segments of the advertising industry, from digital to print to radio and TV. Cannes is the most respected event in the world when it comes to the world of advertising and media, in terms of awards in that people in the industry want to be recognized for their level of creativity.
So I often say that the Lions are like the Academy Awards for advertising and marketing. It's the biggest, it's the best. And to go to that festival every year at the south of France really is something to behold and not open to the public. It's definitely for the elite of advertising and marketing. So this brings us to why you're here today. I'm really excited about this because the Lions, as many organizations should, has been focusing on diversity. And you are head of Black at Cannes. So tell us about that, which is why you're in South Africa right now. So I want to make sure we roll into that as well.
Yes. Black and Can started out from basically an initiative that the advertising industry is not inclusive of people of color. And it's not as diverse as we want it to be in relation to what the world holds in terms of numbers for people of color. We came up with the idea of what were the possible ways that we can see in relation to causing systematic change in advertising. And we decided a few years ago, me and a few friends, on taking that possibility to Cannes and see how we can actually cause change where the key players, like you said, the elites are, in terms of the agencies and the brands, and how we can call for change. We approached Essential, who are the organizers of Cannes, um, and we spoke with them on what are the possibilities in relation to infusing more diverse judges at Cannes. And there was a tilt this year from 30% representation for black and people of color to 47% representation after we engaged them. We now decided this was step one, but how do we create an avenue when people actually get to Cannes? What are the possibilities for them to feel inclusive and be part of those private parties that you don't have accessibility into attending some of these special events? So, for the fact that Adrian Smith created the first venue for where black people can feel welcomed at Cannes, we decided that we need to find and create more events that that are of color can feel welcomed at, and have an itinerary of places to go after leaving the Palais, which is the main venue. So we came up with what were called the Green Book. The Green Book it's an itinerary that followed the culture book, rather, is an itinerary that followed the Green Book that was created in the 60s in the in the southern part of America, where you had an itinerary of places you could go. So we created it to for black people to have events and places they'll feel welcomed at Cannes this year. So it was amazing. We had different variety of events, which we've never seen before individually as people, to be collective in a place and feel welcomed and appreciated, and that for us was mind blowing. So we now thought about it after we had an event at the WPP Center called Create and Connect. How do we move forward in relation to continuing this systematic change that we want to see in the industry? We now decided to create a Beyond Cannes event, then proceeding beyond that to say we have to create and tag ourselves in relation to seeing more of us in this space, and not just on representing the events or judging only, but also be possibility of winning more awards for people of color. So we decided to create the Black at Cannes initiative, and that's how we started it. So in part of that, we decided to go on a sensitization tour on reasons why we need to have more representation in terms of the awards itself, or in terms of putting in entries to ensure that we are in the topmost part of it, competing in all different facets of the awards.
I love this. I love this. And what's really special about what you're doing, I mean, Cannes, the Lions is global, right? These are the top companies in the world, the top advertising and marketing campaigns, the top creative campaigns, not just advertising and marketing, but creativity around the world. And, you know, presidents, celebrities, CEOs all come to this event and just descend on the south of France in June every year. And to be able to really bring more of a presence of Black people around the world is a big deal. And I know it's something they've been working on, but in 1 year, as you mentioned, Adrian Smith has been able to do that as well. She started an initiative a couple of years ago, so it's been fun to see that grow. And then now with Black at Cannes, really, it's like a spider web of connecting everyone so that they know what is happening and they have access, more access to the many, many multiple events. I mean, to give the audience context, we're talking about Google is there, Facebook is there, Procter and Gamble, gosh, just so many brands. My head is flooded with all the people. Anyone you could probably think of, any large brand that's in your life every day, will be at Cannes competing for an award in creativity, because it shows that you're the best. So to be able to have not only judges that can represent diversity, but then people who are there because they're in the field, so they should be at this event as well. And so what made you want to start this initiative? Like personally, what was your drive to execute?
So this goes back to maybe about 18 years ago, or more. Uh, my drive was when I went to advertising school in the same city I'm in right now. I'm currently in Cape Town, South Africa, for a few days, and my professor then told me what I wanted to be or wanted to do when I get out of school, advertising school. And I told him I wanted to work in the city, but he told me I was predominantly black, that such opportunities are not available for people like me. Now, this was post apartheid South Africa, and I be told that the space wasn't something for me. That actually ticked and gave me a drive in relation to ensuring that spaces where I'm not welcomed, I make my own room, and I make sure that these possibilities that they say I couldn't achieve, I make sure that I achieve them by making sure that I can push. So for me, that has been my drive from working as a copywriter to an art director to a brand manager to a brand director. And for me, that has pushed me to the position of wanting to see change for people that look like me so they won't get those kind of statements or hear those kind of words from somebody who has been in the industry for a period of over 50 years. So I seek systematic change based off the fact that I want to see more possibilities for people who are coming after me and be able to be in the C-suites and also be able to understand that globalization, when we speak about cans, is not only for the agencies, but we also speak about the brands. We don't see African based brands who are doing $1 billion in Africa, yet they are not showing up on the global stage. So we are in conversations with not just only the agencies, but how do we push our brands into capitalizing on the diaspora market, like 100 million people plus in Brazil who are predominantly of color. And those are the things that we see that those markets are not being capitalized on, and how do we focus on re-strategizing and connecting with all these sets of people by creating a Pan-African plan, and that is the idea of Black at Cannes.
I love it. That is great. And the global nature of it is next level because, as you say, you're Nigerian American. So a lot of people on this side of the world just think of the Americas, right? Or not even the Americas, just North America. But to be able to include everyone, and you know, South America, as an Afro Latina, South America is near and dear to my heart. So you and I have discussed Brazil and Colombia and all the things, all the people in the media that we could pull into this initiative to make sure that it is global. So Africa, Europe, the United States, or North America, South America, everyone coming together to make a difference and to increase the diversity. So I know right now you are in Cape Town. So
Yes.
for Black at Cannes. So tell us about that.
We started a sensitization tour of how we can get brands and agencies involved in, because we can't complain about a problem if we are not showing up to create a solution to that problem. And that is ensure that we have more entries in at Cannes for next year to ensure that our brands are able to show up. I've been speaking with the biggest brands in the region, ensuring that next year we have at least 10 to 15 black CMOs coming from Africa, from the biggest brands, from MTN to Rain to NetBank. All the big brands in Africa show up at Cannes for the first time and be represented as African-based brands. So that is step one. Step two of why we are here is to ensure that we create the opportunity for more people of color to actually be able to attend Cannes in US in come 2023. So our drive started out on Tuesday this week, where we had a conversation in a room with more people of color who are in this region across Africa during the Lori Awards, which is the biggest advertising awards in Africa and the Middle East, to actually have a conversation on possibilities. And yesterday we also spoke about globalization of Africa and how we can actually show up on the big stage, because basically when we speak about advertising, we're looking at about 50 to 60% of culture-based content being shown out to the world, which means we are the driving force of the advertising industry. When you look at a Nike ad, you can see hip hop being shown, or you look at a KFC ad, you can see some element of the same. So it's imperative that we, who are the culture-driven people, also have a percentage in this business that we're in.
Excellent, excellent. So, what are next steps? How can people help this initiative?
In moving forward, Black at Cannes, we're going to more cities, which includes Sao Paulo, Brazil, Toronto, New York, Atlanta, London, Paris, to ensure that we can create enough drive So we want people to join in the movement because this is for us, it's a movement that we seek to cause change, and change will only come if we disrupt the status quo, and we intend to disrupt the status quo by creating structures in place that will elevate black creatives into a place where they need to be. So for
Excellent.
people joining in, we want them to reach out to us in any way they want to be part of this. We're more than willing to have allies and partners come on board on how they want to be partner with us in any way they want to.
Fantastic. I will make sure that well, if it's okay with you, I'll make sure that we put your LinkedIn in the description for the show because I know, actually, you know what I could put in? Would you like me to add the LinkedIn invite to the Black at Khan WhatsApp
Yes,
instance?
yes,
Is that something that
yes.
works? Okay.
Yes, sure.
We'll do that. We'll do that.
That would be amazing. We want to get as much people in. We project to get at Cannes next year. We want to get at least 500 or 1,000 people who are predominantly black or color at Cannes come 2023. Because this year it was amazing. We had rooms full up of that I've never seen since attending Cannes in years past.
Yeah.
So this time around, we wanted to be explosive and we wanted to carry our culture and not for people to just show up, but people to have a mindset that they are there for these basic reasons. One, to win. Two, to do business. And three, to have an amazing, great time while connecting with people that look like them.
Yes. Wait, that deserves repeating. I love those goals. One, to win, so to win an award.
Yes,
Two, to do business. I think
yes.
con, which is number three, is so fun. I think sometimes people forget you can do a lot of business. This is a great place to really elevate your, not just your brand, no matter how big it is. As we mentioned, Meta and some of the other huge brands that are there, but so many agencies from around the world, which we are looking to have more agencies of color do business with these big brands, these global brands, right? And three, have fun because I'll tell you what, I don't know about you, but I've never seen parties like parties at the Lions. It's like next level partying. I've been to the Oscars. I have been to VH1 award. These parties are truly next level for me. So great goals going forward. And you talked about the Green Book. I'd be remiss if we don't talk about that a little bit. So for people who don't know, audience members who may not know, in the past in the United States, there was a green book that was distributed to the African American population. And it was basically a book that was popular for many decades that showed people the safe places to go throughout the United States if they drove, if they took a car trip across the US, where would let you stay, in not necessarily hotels, but lodging that would allow you to stay, and did tidbits about the routes you were taking so you and your family could be safe. And so essentially, what I'm getting out of this is the green book you're creating. It's not necessarily about safety, but it's about access. It's about having belonging, which is what the original green book was, right? So making sure people know what events are happening at Cannes so they can be part of it. Is that correct?
That's part of it, and I want to include is also part of safety, because I've seen black women who are in C-suites being told at Cannes by certain scrupulous people that maybe they were prostitutes or they were basically there for some notorious reasons. Or I've seen police pull black young men over just to say they were a fit a description of some sorts. And we know what that has happened. And when those happen in the US, what usually follows after that. So in terms of safety, we also use the Green Book as that's at what it was, the culture book as what it was originally meant for. Safe spaces where you can feel welcome. Safe spaces where you can feel appreciated. Safe spaces where you know what to do. So it doesn't only mean that it has to be black related. So you can also have a Pinterest or Google venue as a venue that people can who are of color can actually go into because they've been certified that they are welcoming to us. So for us, we want that same accessibility, but we want that same respect to be accorded to us. That's why it's very vital to be part, or we create that culture book that gives us an array of events that we can feel welcomed and respected at.
Thank you so much. That is wonderful. I love that initiative. And I'm looking forward to, well, I look forward to Con any year, but this year I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be again next level. Is there anything you'd like to share or you'd like people to know before we sign off?
But what I want people to know, it's Black at Cannes. It's a movement, and it's starting, and we want those who are ready to support it to be behind it in full. Thank you for
Excellent.
having me.
I love it. Thank you for being here. This has been tremendous. And I hope you enjoy the
Thank you so much.
events. In what, how many minutes do you have before it starts?
It had actually started an hour ago,
Okay.
but it's like cans. So the final day is usually too much partying. So that's when the crazy creatives come out. So
Oh,
thank you
I
very much,
love it.
and for having me today.
Thank you. We'll talk to you again soon.
Take care and goodbye.
Thanks for listening or watching Destinations with Doni. Show your support by rating this episode on your podcast platform, wherever you listen to your podcast. And while you're there, make sure to subscribe to get notifications of new episodes because you don't want to ever miss out on any of this cross cultural goodness.